Yes, it is going to be all the action all of the time here on Pirate Videos in 2004. That's because we're leaving nothing out, and we'll be capturing all of the races here from Wimborne Road as the Pirates continue their onslaught in defence of their 3 titles. But for now anyway, it's welcome back and a good morning, a good Friday morning from Poole Stadium as the Pirates return from their hectic racing schedule. Well, what can I tell you about last week other than the fact that it's been mixed fortunes for the Pirates, as at Ipswich, unfortunately, they lost by 7 points. The Pirates put up a brave fight, but they weren't able to contain the mighty Ipswich. And I have to say Ipswich also are the only team, like the Pirates, to have won away from home this year in the Elite League. Well, the following night at Peterborough, it was more success for the Pirates as they managed to overhaul the Panthers by 2 points and continue their defence of the Knockout Cup. It meant they won on aggregate, in fact winning both legs. Unfortunately, Monday's match at Bellevue was postponed due to the rain, and we're back here now at Wimborne Road for our encounter with the Eastbourne Eagles. Well, everybody at the Pirates' home has been talking about Tony Rickardsson, and everyone reckons that he's just in about the best form that we've seen him around here.
Yeah, it's been going okay, you know. It hasn't been, you know, absolutely unbelievable. We've been really happy with the start, and it's been going good.
Certainly from what we've seen around Poole, you've been in some of the best form that I've seen you since you've been here. Yeah,
pretty much say probably it's one of the best starts I ever had to a season, and yeah, it's just going really well. You know, I'm really enjoying my riding again, and yeah, I hope I can keep it up.
This year, of course, you haven't got the responsibility of being the captain. Does that allow you to concentrate just that little bit more?
Yeah, last year I was captain in 3 leagues, all leagues I was riding in, and but that didn't affect me much last year. It's more that I had a much better winter this time. I'm not the defending champion. I didn't have to do so much TV and interviews over the winter, so I've been able to concentrate on what makes you a good speedo rider: training, eating, and sleeping good. So that's what I've been doing over the winter.
During the last week, we only saw one minor slip, of course. That was losing a primary chain at Ipswich, but that's pretty minor, of course.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, you know, when you have mechanical problems, but that's one of the reasons why the start of the season been good so far. I haven't had too many mechanical problems. Feel my fitness and everything's a little bit better than last year. My chassis are better and my engines are a little bit better, and with all these 3 components together makes it a little bit better. That's what makes it happen.
I guess in Speedway you've just got to keep moving forward. You've got to keep developing all the time, and you're one of the people that really takes that to heart and does well at it.
I don't know about that. You know, I've got a lot of setbacks. You try 10 new things and you maybe find 1 new thing out of these. So, but you know, I like that. I like the technical side to the sport as well.
Okay, thanks Tony, and good luck today.
Thank you.
Well, Tony isn't the only one to be hitting great form, and I've got to say this week has also seen a fantastic performance from this man, Daniel Davidsson, and a fantastic score at Ipswich. I think it was 13 points paid.
Yeah, it was good up there. Really enjoyed it. Making some good starts, and it's easy then.
I think there was only one race indeed that you didn't score. I think it was 3 or paid 3.
Yeah, I got this was my second ride. I think I got the last place, but apart from that, it was really good.
Well, obviously you've proved that you can do it. I know that there's been occasions here at Poole that you haven't quite found the setup that you want. Is that coming along now?
Yeah, I hope so. Last meeting against Arena S6 or what it was, I think I was a bit unlucky as well. Been a bit in the wrong place at the wrong time down here all the time. But it's just to get a little bit of edge, little bit of luck on your own side, then it's going to be good down here as well.
You had a bit of a mechanical failure as well. I gather the throttle control came loose when you were leading in, I think that was your last ride last week.
Yeah, it was the last ride, and that was annoying for me, but shit happened.
And I guess that won't happen again.
No, it won't.
Okay, well, good luck today. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Well, the Pirates are riding high at the moment, and we can say that they have started the 2004 season in a way that they can be pleased with. Meanwhile, over on the Eagles side of the pits, they've been the sufferer of 1 or 2 rainouts, and they really haven't had the opportunity to get going yet this year. What we have seen has been rather interesting, and of course they do come to Poole with the services once again of the reigning world champion Nicki PEDERSEN, who returns to Poole for the first time since capturing that title.
It's good to be back even when the sun is up there, you know. It's a day meeting. That's not what we're really used to in England, you know, so I look forward for that.
We all saw you take the title, of course, in fantastic style, but it all came really towards the end of the season because you were perhaps the man that was there or thereabouts. Was it a surprise to you?
Well, I don't know if it was a surprise, you know. I hoped it, you know, and I believed it, you know, but I didn't really want to say to myself, you know, no, it's mine now, you know, because I was that much focused, you know, so perhaps I didn't really realize you know, before I came home, you know, and probably a month afterwards, because it's a big step. It's something you've been working on for 10 years, you know, so it's sunk in now, you know, and I do believe it now, and it's a tremendous thing, the work my team did last year, you know, and it's a thing we can remember for the rest of my life.
I guess this year now it's going to be even harder, because once you're at the top, you've got to stay there, and everyone's focusing in on you now. You perhaps know how Tony's felt for the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, that's probably right, but that's part of the game, you know. I'm very professional, you know. I got some more guys in my crew this year in the team, you know. So we're well organised and prepared, and my form is looking really good, you know. We're testing a lot of engines at the moment, so I feel happy, you know. And when we organise, you know, you can't do any better, you know. So only get on the track and do your best.
Concentrating on the Eastbourne front for the time being. Are you happy with the start that you've made for the Eagles?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially the home track, you know, it's a tremendous, nice home track. It's a little racing track. It's still small, but it is still a racing track, you know, and that's what we like, you know. So the team we just done a couple of meetings together so far. There's still some young riders on the team, and they need to prove a little bit more, you know, but definitely they're all doing their best, you know, and I'm sure, you know, we will get a good team spirit.
And you usually relish your visits to Poole, so I'm sure you're looking forward to this one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always go pretty good here, you know, so I would give it a go tonight, you know, and hopefully we score some points.
Absolutely, not too many though.
We'll see.
Thanks, Nicki.
Cheers.
Well, the Elite League this year is designed to bring in some of the new talent into the sport, and it's great to see this young man, Edward Kennett, moving up into the Elite League full-time this year. Edward, it's been a big leap for you.
Yeah, you know, last year I was in the Premier League and I got hurt in the middle of the season, and I done my knee in, and this year I was on holiday and John Cook gave me a phone call and said, would you like to ride for Eastbourne? And well, I jumped to the chance and said yes. I know it's going to be hard for me, but you know, it should be a great experience.
It's a big jump because, of course, perhaps everyone might have thought that you would have doubled up this year, but you've elected to go full-time.
Yeah, you know, some people would have, like you say, done it too early, but I've had the chance to go and I think I can do it, but if not, I can go back down next year and do Premier League.
It's great to see the British talent coming through, and you've got a good deity behind you with the family name, but your sight's probably set firmly now in moving up on an individual basis as well.
Yeah, you know, I got the under-21 at my home track last year was at Royale, so I got that this year, and just hopefully I can get through and go abroad and race for the under-21.
Concentrating on today, you've seen the Poole track before, because of course you were here for World Championship battling a year ago, I think it was. And is this a track that suits your style?
Yeah, you know, I like the track here. It's like it's only a little bit bigger than Eastbourne, really, but no, it's a good track here. It's well good.
And looking forward to today. We're racing in the sun, and it's going to be a busy day, of course, because not long after we finish here, we're going to be back to your home track.
Yeah, you know, bit of a race home, but no, we should be all right as long as there's no hold-up. So it should be a good day.
Okay, good to see you. Wish you all the best in the Elite League, and let's see the Brits rise to the top, as it were.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, in the few matches that Eastbourne have been able to be involved with, and the weather has played its part in many of them, David Norris, I have to say, has been impressive. David, it must be the best start of the season that you've made.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel comfortable and I feel quite fast, so it's definitely the best start. I'm normally a pretty slow starter, normally comes strong at the end, but yeah, it's been a very good start, but I've put a lot of effort into it this winter and kind of changed my attitude towards the sport this year. So I've done a lot of training, worked hard with my fitness and my equipment. I've lost just over a stone in weight, stopped drinking, stopped smoking, stopped having a social life basically. So Speedway's my life at the minute, but it's going pretty good. I'm pleased with it.
You certainly reaped the rewards, and I've got to say that you've paid back the faith in you that the Eastbourne management had in selecting you as one of the only members that have really been left in the team from 18 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously between me and Dean, and possibly Dean had first choice. I'm not too sure on the stories, but I pledged my future with Eastbourne, and you know, they said that's all they needed to know. So yeah, I'm the last survivor really of the old school, but it's quite refreshing, as it is probably for Dean to have his move, as it is for me to ride with a sort of a real different bunch of guys. So I think at the end of the day it's done both myself and Dean good, and because we sort of become stale together, we kind of bring each other down. I think it's a bit too comfortable riding together all that time, but I'm pleased to have been chosen by the club, and you know, we've definitely got some youth in the side this time. So as far as this season goes, I don't know what our immediate plans are, obviously to do as well as we can, but possibly might be the sort of side that you might be looking out for in 2005 more than this year.
Well, you're a proud Brit, of course, and last year we saw you taking your place in the World Team Cup squad. Is that something, certainly on current form, is something you can see happening again?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've realised possibly my own potential as far as them sort of meetings go, and that's something that I've got my eye on now. I mean, I've started to put my name forward for the World Championship qualifying rounds this year, and up till now I've never been interested in the Grand Prix or anything, but now I feel like I owe it to myself to give it a go, so anything that put me a British body jacket on this year I'll be going for.
Well, you've certainly given a good account of yourself already as what's been described as the elder statesman of Eastbourne, and like Martin before you, and you know, who knows, the title of Mr. Eastbourne to be bestowed on you yet.
Well, maybe, yeah. Like I say, yeah, I suppose in a few years' time there's a few people that will be remembered, Gordon, Kennett, Martin ZETTERSTROM, maybe me, so I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but at least we're remembered for something.
Well, good to see you and have a great day today.
Cheers, I'm trying to wake up now.
Well, quite clearly a visible change in David Norris there, who's really focusing in on the 2004 season and really seeing the potential. And I've got to say his reward is that he's dropped maybe just 3, 4, 5 points from his opening 3 or 4 meetings, even though some of those have been cut short due to rain. Well, we're ready for action here with the Eagles and the Pirates, ready to do battle in the first leg of the Elite League A match. And of course this match will be continued later on this evening when the Pirates go over to Eastbourne for the second part of this fixture. But in the meantime, it's time now to go and join Graham, and let's get on with the racing.
So here we go with Heat 1, Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN on this sunny bank holiday here at Wimborne Road, lining up at the tapes in the red and blue helmets. What more formidable opponent could they have than the reigning world champion, Nicki PEDERSEN, in the green helmet. He's going from pole position, grid 1, and his young partner, Ulrich OSTERGAARD, rides from grade 3 in the yellow helmet. It's Good Friday, there's a packed crowd here at Wimborne Road, the sun's shining, and we're in for the superb Elite League match between these two South Coast rivals. Of course, they will be facing each other back at Eastbourne at Arlington Track later on today. Midday start here, and here they are lining up at the tapes for race number 1. Up go the tapes, and Nicki PEDERSEN immediately away there into the first bend, and starts as he means to go on with a little bit of a heave-ho on Jason Lyons. A red light comes on. The referee may regard that as first bend bunching. Certainly, I don't think Jason was overly impressed. Bjarne PEDERSEN did make a very good gate. I think I can see a green light, but in the sun here, it's very difficult to make it out. Certainly the crowd showing their disapproval, and yes, I do believe the green light's on, and that would, well, the body language between the two of them there, not too aggressive, and Jason Lyons a very forgiving pat on the green helmet colour. Nevertheless, the referee has adjudged, and it's been announced to the crowd that Nicki PEDERSEN was the cause of that stoppage. Not first bend bunching, but unfair riding by the Eastbourne rider and world champion. So things off to a controversial start here at Wimborne Road as the riders go back into the pits to regroup. It will, of course, be without Mr. PEDERSEN, and we'll see whether the Pirates can capitalise on that fully with a 5-1 in this opener. Well, let's just have another look at that first bend while we're waiting for the riders to come out again, and you can see here that the Pirates do make good gates from grids 2 and 4, and Nicki PEDERSEN's having to give a big shove there onto Jason Lyons just to try and maintain that pole position. Jason going straight out to the fence, and absolutely nothing to do with that tumble. It's entirely down to Nicki, as you see there, and quite rightly the referee shows the green light. So with a notable absence then of Nicki PEDERSEN, the remaining riders coming up to the tapes for the restart of Heat 1. Remember, it's Jason Lyons in the red helmet and Bjarne PEDERSEN in the blue. And yes, they are right away from the gate, as one might have expected. Ulrich OSTERGAARD, the young Eagle, is going to have his work cut out to make any impression this time. And the midday sun glinting down on the riders and machines as Poole Pirates get away to the best possible start in this South Coast Derby, Elite League fixture, Elite League A match, and the Pirates with unbeaten home record so far this season are getting off to the best of the possible starts, as with a little overlap to go. Bjarne PEDERSEN comfortably out in front from Jason Lyons, and young Ulrich OSTERGAARD is certainly having a good look at the track and trying to ride himself into a groove there, but he can make no impression on the two Pirates. And there goes the checkered flag, maximum points, not unexpected with that exclusion to the visitors number 1, and it's 5-1 all the way. On to Heat 2 with Antonio Lindback, an early season hero for the Pirates in the red helmet, and Daniel Davidsson showing some very fine glimpses of form, particularly notably in the away match at Ipswich. Narrow defeat suffered by the Pirates, but nevertheless Daniel Davidsson was way up there in the scorers, just behind Tony Rickardsson. The opposition comes from Peter Jung and Edward Kennett for the Eagles. Up go the tapes, and away they go with Antonio Lindback, straight out into the lead with Peter Jung hot on his tail, and Daniel Davidsson in third place for the Pirates. So Pirates holding a 4-2 at this early stage in the proceedings. That rider in green, Peter Jung, of course, he's still a reserve for the Eastbourne Eagles, and they'll be hoping that he can reproduce the sort of form that managed to shock the rest of the Speedway world in the World Team Cup final in 2003. He really was the hero in the latter stages of that match, and enabled the Swedes to eclipse the Australians, who had previously looked as if they were holding an invincible league. But Peter Jung, probably fair to say, yet to reproduce that sort of form. And here he's looking at Antonio Lindback disappearing way into the distance as he collects the checkered flag, not for the first time, and I'm sure not for the last, here at Wimborne Road this season. Daniel Davidsson tucking in third, another heat win, and it's Pirates all the way in the early stages because they lead by 9 points to 3. So we move on to race 3, and I think perhaps the Eagles, provided both their riders can contest the race, could provide the Pirates with their stiffest challenge so far of this Elite League fixture, because they've got Joonas KYLMAKORPI in the green helmet on grid 1, and David Norris, their captain, who's been in fine form so far this season. A lot of big points tallied in the yellow. For the Pirates, it's Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Davey WATT. But Davey WATT once again shows some of that gating prowess that he has done this season. Gets a superb gate, and Magnus is hanging on in there. What a good first bend from the two Pirates there. Magnus kept the throttle on. Davey made that good gate from grid position 2, which we have seen a bit of this season. And although we've got Dave Norris trying to screw it on and catch up with the Pirates number 4 Australian, he's come to a halt there on turn 4 and lap 2, and it leaves the two Pirates out in front. Joonas KYLMAKORPI still trying all he knows. In fact, I've got that the wrong way around, because it was KYLMAKORPI who dropped out, and in fact it's Dave Norris in the yellow helmet who's come through into second place. An unfortunate third bend there from Magnus ZETTERSTROM. He's obviously lost power, trouble with the bike, so we're all over the place in that one. But eventually it ends up with a 4-2 in favour of the Pirates with Davey WATT, who led, in fact, from start to finish in that race. Behind him, KYLMAKORPI was giving it some stick for a few laps, but dropped out. Dave Norris came through, and Magnus ZETTERSTROM lost power. 4-2 the Pirates. 13-5 in favour of the Pirates after 3 races, and we got there in the end. So at this relatively early stage, the Pirates are already holding an 8-point lead. The only change on the Eagles side in this race is a reserve switch. So reserve replacement ride for Peter Young, who comes in to take the place of Edward Kennett. Eastbourne management obviously thinking that Peter Young can do what he did in Heat 2, and that is relegate Daniel Davidsson behind him. Daniel, one of the two Pirate riders. The other, who else? But TR, Tony Rickardsson. I notice he's on his second bike, not the one he used on the parade, so don't quite know what's going on with that, but nevertheless, whatever he rides these days, he seems to be absolutely flying. So Tony Rickardsson in the red, Daniel Davidsson in the blue. It's Adam Shields and Peter Young for Eastbourne. Up they go, and Tony Rickardsson does not get the best run into the first bend, but with the aid of that throttle around the outside, superb first bend from the Pirates number 5, and although he's bucking a little bit coming out of turn 4, he's out in the lead in front of Peter Young in second place. Daniel Davidsson, somewhat surprisingly, is holding the third place ahead of Adam Shields. So Tony Rickardsson in the lead. Pirates looking for a 4-2 heat win. Daniel Davidsson out in front of Adam Shields, the Eastbourne number 5, who is looking a little bit lethargic in this one. I think maybe he'll be showing a little bit more form as the match progresses, but at the moment he's struggling for power somewhat, and he's looking forward to see the other 3 riders in front of him. In fact, he tries to screw it on the final bend there, but only succeeded in getting even further behind, whereas Tony Rickardsson only succeeded in getting further and further out in front. So 4-2 to the Pirates. They extend their lead even further, and they now lead by 17 points to 7, 10 up after just 4 races.
Ride of heat number 7, but I could bring you the full and official result of heat number 4, which is a win in red for the Rias Pirates, Tony Rickardsson. Tony's winning time 58.91.
Heat 5, and the Eastbourne team management deciding to try and do something about this 10-point deficit. Just 4 races gone, but already the Eagles 10 in arrears, so they've nominated their number 1, Nicki PEDERSEN, for a tactical ride. And probably they would think that doing that against Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Davey WATT would maximise their chances of getting 6 points from it. But still, the way that Davey WATT's been gating, that can't be a foregone conclusion. In fact, Nicki PEDERSEN is off gate 4, so he's really going to have to work for his 6 points if that's the way it's going to turn out. So anyway, the full lineup: Magnus ZETTERSTROM on grid 1, and Davey WATT on grid 3 for the Pirates. It's Nicki PEDERSEN in the green on 4, and his young partner in the yellow helmet on 2, Ulrich OSTERGAARD. And Magnus ZETTERSTROM gets straight out in front, and Nicki PEDERSEN breathing down his exhaust pipe, with Davey WATT this time not getting one of his accustomedly good gates, and he is back in last place. But the battle is out in front. Nicki PEDERSEN right on the tail of Magnus ZETTERSTROM there, and let's see whether the Eastbourne tactic of nominating him as a tactical ride pays off or not. The race is half over. Magnus ZETTERSTROM there just lifts the front wheel, crossing over the start-finish line. And we've got 2 races for the price of 1 here, because Nicki PEDERSEN it is who's now making an outside challenge to Magnus ZETTERSTROM. It looks as if it might have paid off. What a superb pass by the world champion there to move in for 6 points. Magnus in second place there had to yield. He tried for a few laps on the inside, but eventually went round the outside. That was a wonderful ride there from Nicki PEDERSEN there. Magnus ZETTERSTROM pretty difficult to pass when he's out in front here, but nevertheless he had to yield to Nicki PEDERSEN, and with the third place ride there going to Ulrich OSTERGAARD at the expense of Davey WATT, it is indeed a 7 points to 2 victory for the Eastbourne Eagles. That makes a heck of a difference to the scoreline, because it's now 19 points to 14, so the arrears are halved. 10 points down to 5 points. It's 19-14 in favour of the Pirates. Well, I think it's worth having another look at that pass by Nicki PEDERSEN on the Pirates skipper Magnus ZETTERSTROM. Here you see he's been tracking him for a couple of laps, mainly sticking to the inside line, and as he goes around bends 3 and 4 here, he decides it's time for a change of tactic. He takes to the dirt, and coming along the start-finish straight, he gets the power and he goes straight past Magnus, and of course by the time they come into first bend here, it's clear leader Nicki PEDERSEN, and he gets the 6 points for the Eagles. We're on to heat 6 now, and Pirates line up with their 5-1 openers, Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN. Can they repeat that this time? They line up against Adam Shields, a little bit lethargic in his opening ride, and reserve switch sees Edward Kennett coming in to take the place of Peter Young. Obviously the reserve switch did pay off in the last race. Maybe wouldn't have expected Peter Young to relegate Davey WATT to, wouldn't have expected the outcome of that particular race, but Edward Kennett this time seems to obviously have his work cut out now, because he's lining up against Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN. Quite a formidable pair of opponents for the young 17-year-old from Eastbourne. So Pirates off 2 and 4. Up go the tapes and away they go, and once again Bjarne PEDERSEN smartly out of the tapes, and this time it's Jason Lyons who moves from gate 4, and he takes the first bend right around in the dirt, and it looks like Adam Shields once again is staring at a couple of opponents and not being able to do too much about it, although he's slightly closer orders this time to Bjarne PEDERSEN. But the two Pirates opened with a 5-1, and it looks as if they mean business today. Jason Lyons has had a little bit of an indifferent start to the season. I think possibly come in for some rather premature and unwarranted criticism, but I think most of the old hands thinks that his experience of the Elite League for many seasons in Bellevue colours will certainly come to the Pirates' advantage as the season progresses. And here we see him taking the checkered flag. He obviously, being an Aussie, likes the midday sun. It's brought the best out of him, and that's 2 unbeaten rides for the Pirates number 1. 5-1, the scoreline, and 24 points to 15, the progressive totals. On to heat 7, 9 points the difference between the two teams. The Pirates out in front with 24 then. Eagles on 15. It's that man Tony Rickardsson out again for his second ride. This time, as if he needed any advantage, he has gate 1, and his young partner in the blue is Antonio Lindback. Interesting to see how Antonio gets on against the lively pairing of Joonas KYLMAKORPI in the green helmet and David Norris in the yellow. Let's see if we can get those two sorted out this time. Somewhat surprising to see KYLMAKORPI in the green helmet, but nevertheless, well, that looked a little bit of an unsatisfactory start as Antonio Lindback reared from the tapes, but he's got shut out by the rider in yellow, who's Dave Norris, and Tony Rickardsson it is who is out in front, but Lindback making a strong effort to catch up with KYLMAKORPI in the green helmet, and there he is. He's taking to the outside. He's right up by the fence, perhaps too close to it, although we're not unaccustomed to seeing him there. Tony Rickardsson out in front, not building up a particularly big lead, but the two Eagles solidly packing in second and third, and I've got a feeling that this time Antonio perhaps has met his match, because it is a solid 3 and 4 pairing, probably the backbone of the team, but nevertheless the young Brazilian Swede not going to give up. He's hanging on in there right the way around the final turn to the checkered flag, but he has to yield, and the Pirates settle for a drawn race. It's 3 to each side with that fine win from Tony Rickardsson, and the progressive totals go to Poole 27, and the Eagles with Dave Norris second, Joonas KYLMAKORPI third, on to 18. So we're on to Heat 8, and Daniel Davidsson in the blue helmet is lining up there on the inside grid position with 2 third places to his credit so far. Let's see if he can improve on that this time. He's out with the unbeaten Bjarne PEDERSEN, who goes from grid 3 in the red helmet, and opposition comes in the shape of Ulrich OSTERGAARD, and there's another reserve switch. Eastbourne obviously with John Cook at the helm there, alive to all the possibilities, and once again Peter Young, who's had 2 good second places, comes in to take the place of Edward Kennett, who's so far failed to score. So let's see with this 9-point advantage whether the Pirates can move on in Heat 8. Away go the tapes, and this time it's the rider in yellow, Peter Young, who gets a pretty good gate, but Bjarne PEDERSEN, although he wasn't there from the start, kept the throttle on and right around the outside to take the lead. What a superb bend that was by the Danish Grand Prix rider in the red helmet, and it's nice to see that Daniel Davidsson is tucked in 3rd place. So the Pirates holding a 4-2 heat advantage, which would extend them. Ulrich OSTERGAARD at the back, Peter Young sandwiched between the 2 Pirates, and Bjarne PEDERSEN doing what he's done in his previous 2 races, and that's show a clean pair of wheels to the opposition. And into the final lap, this is going to extend the Pirates' lead to 11 points. It's going to move Poole onto 31 and Eastbourne onto 20. Bjarne PEDERSEN takes the checkered flag, Daniel Davidsson in 3rd place, and that's another heat victory for the swashbuckling Pirates. Well, Bjarne PEDERSEN really on good form, and let's have another look at that first bend. He didn't make a particularly good gate from 3, but Peter Young holds pole position, but here you see Bjarne screwing it on in fine style, and he goes away to take a race win. He really is in top form at the moment. So 11 points up, the Pirates on to Heat 9, and the form book suggests they should capitalise on this one, because the 2 Eagles in this race, Adam Shields and Edward Kennett, just scored a single point between the 2 of them. Mind you, the Pirates pairing of Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Davey WATT have not been quite so prolific today. They had that 4-2 in their opening ride, but a 4-2 reversal after that. So let's see if they can bounce back with Davey WATT in the blue helmet on grid 1. We've got Magnus on grid 3, skipper there, and Adam Shields, just 1/3 place in a 5-1. He goes in the green helmet from grid 2. We know he's capable of far better than that, and we've seen it here. Edward Kennett, still very much in the early part of his Elite League learning curve, is in the yellow helmet on grid 4. Davey WATT way out of the gate, and again Magnus ZETTERSTROM is alongside him on the first bend, with Adam Shields pretty lethargic from the tapes. He's going to have to do something about that in the early stages of the race if the 2 Pirates are not going to pull right away and score another 5-1. He is right on Davey WATT, his fellow Aussie countryman's rear wheel, but at this stage you wouldn't put your money on anything other than a Pirates 5-1. The race reaches halfway stage. Pirates number 4 rider Davey WATT just takes a little look over his shoulder on the back straight there, sees Adam Shield not too close at hand, so he's able to concentrate on his own riding line, and Magnus ZETTERSTROM is into the final turn. It's looking very much like a 5-1 now, which would extend the Pirates' lead to 15 points. That's going to take some hauling back by the Eastbourne Eagles, even if they do make another tactical move. So 36 now to the Pirates, 21 to the Eagles. Pirates are rampant at this stage of this Elite League bank holiday fixture. And what better way to celebrate a 5-1? The skipper there decides it's showtime, and what a mover he is. The crowd love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is number 10.
So we're on to Heat 10, and if the Eagles are going to make any sort of move, this is the time to do it. It's very much a case of the, in the Pirate sense, the unbeaten versus the uncompromising in this race, because Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN have been unbeaten by an opponent so far in the proceedings. And of course, as far as uncompromising is concerned, well, we do have Dave Norris in the yellow helmet, the Eastbourne Eagles skipper. He's paired with Joonas KYLMAKORPI, who's himself a pretty lively performer. So I think these are two very well balanced pairs here. And although maybe the Pirates start with a slight advantage, particularly with the inside grid, and it's Bjarne PEDERSEN on 1, Jason Lyons on 3. Nevertheless, I think they're going to have their work cut out to hold a 5-1 in this one. As the tapes go up, and away they go. And indeed, Jason Lyons didn't get the best of starts. Bjarne PEDERSEN's away, but in the yellow helmet colour, Dave Norris shows that he is in pretty fine form at the moment, and he's right around the outside there. Jason Lyons taking advantage of that little bit of mayhem to come through and pass Joonas KYLMAKORPI, so that's a plus for the Pirates that time, because he at one stage on the first bend was in last place. But Dave Norris, as I indicated earlier, is pretty prolific point scorer so far this season for the Eagles, and he's shown exactly the sort of form here in this race, because it's Bjarne PEDERSEN who had to yield, and Jason Lyons after that rather straggly approach into the first bend, who will be more than content after that to settle for third place. So a drawn race, 3 to each side, and the 15-point lead is maintained by the Pirates. They move on to 39. The Eagles, unable to improve their position, they still remain on 24. Good win that by Dave Norris, the visiting captain. So this might be a team match, but we've got a personal head-to-head confrontation here between the 2003 World Speedway champion Nicki PEDERSEN and the rider he deposed from that crown, and 5 times previous world champion Tony Rickardsson. It's the big one, and Tony Rickardsson in the red helmet goes from grid 2, Nicki PEDERSEN in green alongside him in grid 3. The whole race is going to be intriguing. The battle into the first bend particularly so. The other players in this one, not to be outdone or eclipsed, will be Antonio Lindback for Poole in the blue helmet, and in the yellow helmet a reserve switch, and in fact a reserve change, it's Peter Young in yellow. Away they go, and Tony Rickardsson gets out in front, and Antonio Lindback seeing the fence at close quarters there, because Nicki PEDERSEN liked the idea of a fairly wide line himself, and Antonio, for the second consecutive race, finds himself in last place coming out of the first bend. So Tony Rickardsson, though, is the rider out in front. Nicki PEDERSEN, I don't think he's going to repeat his earlier feat of a pass on his Pirates opponent. That time it was Magnus ZETTERSTROM. This time it's Tony Rickardsson. Enough said, and Tony Rickardsson really flying. He hasn't been looking quite as prolific out in front today with his number 2 machine, but nevertheless he's done more than enough in this one to say to Nicki, hey, I'm the boss, this is Wimborne Road, and there's the checkered flag, and that's mine. Antonio Lindback makes a do-or-die attempt on the last bend to get up for third place, but Peter Young has been pretty steady in that number 6 reserve slot, and he's notched up 7 points. Lord Antonio, apart from his first race win, has failed to score since, so he won't be quite as bubbly as usual, but Tony Rickardsson will definitely be more than satisfied with that convincing win there in Heat 11, and he takes the claim of the crowd.
Pirates have amassed this big lead as we hit the interval then, and one of the men helpful and responsible for that, having won 2 of his outings so far, Bjarne, back on good form again.
Yeah, feeling me good, so I can still feel I need some more meeting before my form in the body is 100%, but yeah, I feel great with the bikes, and I know the Indian working good, so it's up to me to get a good speedway.
This season certainly seems to have turned the corner for you. This day is a very busy day. What's the sort of pressure now on you, because obviously after today, or this morning, you've got to turn around and do it all again this evening?
You know, the most important for us is have so many points extra we can get in the back after meeting today. You know, this is too big, different track, and you know, and we go away now. You know, that'll be much harder and have been so far. So, but you know, hopefully we can have a win tonight. That is, you know, that's really important for to be in the top of the league.
Absolutely, and let's hope that you can do it. Well done today.
Thank you.
Well, Pirates may well be in command so far today. Let's see if that changes. Obviously, it looks very much now that they're set fair for the win here this morning, but certainly up at Arlington it could be a different matter this evening. But for now, let's go back to Graham.
So, interval cups of team have been consumed. The Eagles 27 points, Pirates up on 42, and it certainly looks as if the local derby is going very much the way of the home side here, and let's see whether the Eagles have got a fairly powerful looking pairing out this time with Joonas KYLMAKORPI and the busy reserve number 6 rider Peter Jung lining up against Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Daniel Davidsson. So I would say that the visitors do have the opportunity here to perhaps look at least a share of the spoils, if not something better. And in fact, Magnus rearing quite badly there going into the first bend, and indeed the Eagles are looking at an early 5-1 here in Heat 12, which would certainly tighten the margin up between the teams to 11 points, the Pirates having been 15 up at the interval. And out in front we see Joonas KYLMAKORPI hasn't got the points that his riding has perhaps deserved here so far today. Peter Jung has looked pretty steady and reliable in second place, and there we see a good shot of KYLMAKORPI rounding the bottom turn there in the lead, and he certainly is blasting his way around here, and the Pirates at this stage not looking to be making very much of a challenge. Magnus ZETTERSTROM back in third place, perhaps apart from that 5-1 in race 9, he's been in fairly quiet form here today, and Daniel Davidsson at the back is also looking ahead to see the two opposing riders, the two Eagles, out in front. So a little look over the shoulder from Joonas as he comes around the final turn to take the checkered flag with his partner Peter Jung in second place. Maximum 5 points to 1 victory, their first of the match, and it makes the scoreline 43 to the Pirates, now up to 32 with the Eagles. So those half-time cups of tea obviously did something for the Eagles here today. So having pegged the Pirates' advantage back to 11 points with that surprise 5-1 there, let's see if Tony Rickardsson and Jason Lyons can restore that comfortable advantage in Heat 13. So this is the big one. Jason Lyons in the red helmet goes from 1. Alongside him, world champion Nicki PEDERSEN in the green helmet. On grid 3 is Tony Rickardsson, and gate 4 is Adam Shields. Adam would surprise most people if he got anything out of this race, because he's just got 2 points from his 3 starts. So now it's the chance for Nicki PEDERSEN to turn the tables on Tony Rickardsson. Tony in Heat 11 had an inside start advantage over his rival. This time Nicki PEDERSEN has the advantage. He's on grid 2. So both riders just doing a little bit of hanging back there. The old kidology at the start, but the starter calls them into line now. There's Jason Lyon for good measure. The run into the first bend looks as if it could be quite intriguing here. Away they go. And yes, Nicki PEDERSEN does just take that advantage, and Tony Rickardsson's got to do it the hard way for the first time this season. And he does. Look at that. As absolute master of this track, a superb pass on Nicki PEDERSEN there going into turn 3 of the first lap. He didn't make the gate, but he was supremely confident that that wasn't going to make a difference, and absolutely top-notch speedway there from the master of Wimborne Road, Tony Rickardsson. He's out in front, and there's no way that Nicki PEDERSEN's going to get near him. What is an issue maybe though is that Jason Lyons is right up the exhaust part of the world champion, and he's going to give him a run for his money. So 3 laps gone, 1 to go. There's the yellow flag. Tony Rickardsson way out in front. Nicki PEDERSEN just holding on with Jason Lyons right behind him, and it's going to be a 4-2. Lyons it is, who's trying an outside pass. Hey, having a go, but it didn't pay off. Nice to see Jason there, right in at close quarters. So it's a 4-2 to the Pirates, and makes the scoreline with 2 heats to go, 47 to Poole, 34 to Eastbourne. Well, as Tony takes the claims from the grandstand, just a quick flashback to race 1 there, and as you can see, coming around the first turn, Tony Rickardsson wasn't really there, Nicki PEDERSEN in pole position, but look at that speed down the back straight, and by the time they hit turn 3, he's where he has been all day, out in front. Absolutely superb speedway from the master. Well, we're on to heat 14, the penultimate race, and a couple of tactical moves on the Eastbourne side. They're nominating their captain, number 4 in the green helmet, as a tactical ride, so his points will be doubled. Potential 6 points for him if he wins the race. And there's a reserve change. The place of Edward Kennett is taken by Peter Young. Young Pirates have their work cut out here. I think we're looking at a potential 8-1 against if Davey WATT and Antonio Lindback fail to split the Eastbourne pairing. So will it be an 8-1, which would bring the scores back to just a 6-point margin? We'll have to see here. Antonio Lindback has other ideas. He's had 2 indifferent rides. We've seen him in last place, but he's out of the gate. Dave Norris has different ideas again as he takes the young Swede very wide on turn 3. Antonio able to avoid the fence, but Dave Norris is having a superb afternoon here. He has good uns at Wimborne Road, and he has some, well, not such good meetings. Today he's flying and he's out in front. He's going to get that 6 points, but Antonio Lindback is going to prevent the 8-1 because he's in second place. Unfortunately, Davey WATT did take a tumble. Nice that he's picked himself up and remounted, but nevertheless it's Peter Young in third place, and this is going to be a 7-2. The second time we've had a race with that scoreline here today, because we have one in heat 5, and it's going to mean that the Pirates move on to 49 and the Eagles spring from nowhere up to 41. Dave Norris then takes the checkered flag, he wins the race. Antonio Lindback will probably be disappointed that he couldn't capitalise on that really good start from grid 2, but Dave Norris was not going to be satisfied with less than a winning ride, and so with just a single race to go, having led very comfortably, the new rules, which give tactical rides, have enabled Eastbourne to really close it up, and it's now just 8 points between them, 49 points to 41, as we have the nominated race to go. Well, Pirates can't lose the match, but still a mouth-watering prospect here in race 15, with a good lineup of Grand Prix riders. 3 out of the 4 in this year's Grand Prix. We've got Bjarne PEDERSEN in red, Tony Rickardsson in blue for the Pirates, Nicki PEDERSEN in green, and the lively Dave Norris, skipper of the Eagles, in yellow. Pirates have 1 of 3 grid positions, and so it'll be interesting here to see whether Pirates can finish up with a heat win. And we're still actually waiting for David Norris to come around to the start. Here he comes. He's been in lively form today. He's got 13 points from 4 rides. Of course, 6 of them were in Heat 14, the previous race, when he was nominated as a tactical rider. He's going then to the outside grid position, gate 4. And let's see if Tony Rickardsson, with 4 immaculate wins, not all from the gate, but certainly by the end of the first lap of every race he's competed in, he's been where he belongs, out in front. Let's see if Tony can do that again here in Heat 15. And an intriguing racing prospect, as once again he has a head-to-head with Nicki PEDERSEN. So the Gladiators moving into line. It's Bjarne PEDERSEN and Tony Rickardsson, Nicki PEDERSEN and David Norris. Heat 15, Pirates 8 points to the good. Up go the Tates, and unfortunately Dave Norris not going to be one of the competitors because he stopped on the line. Tony Rickardsson once again goes around the outside, but this time Nicki PEDERSEN it is who gets the advantage there, and Bjarne PEDERSEN on the inside is doing his very best to hold him off. This is a superb race. Nicki PEDERSEN and Bjarne PEDERSEN. Nicki PEDERSEN goes around the outside. We're into lap 2. Tony Rickardsson back in 3rd place. It could be that Tony is going to have to yield his maximum because Nicki PEDERSEN out in front. Tony Rickardsson out in the dirt, trying for all he's worth to get the grip to come around and mount a challenge on Nicki, and in fact he is doing so, but Nicki PEDERSEN rears up there. Bjarne PEDERSEN on the inside might be actually bulking Tony Rickardsson. What a superb speedway race this is. Half a lap to go. Nicki PEDERSEN out in front. Bjarne PEDERSEN and Tony Rickardsson. 1 in, 1 out, right on his tail. Tony Rickardsson runs out of track. Nicki PEDERSEN inflicts the first defeat on Tony Rickardsson today. What a great ride that was from the world champion. Superb speedway from Bjarne PEDERSEN and Tony Rickardsson. Top draw speedway from Grand Prix riders. A drawn race to end the proceedings. It's 52 points to Poole, 44 to Eastbourne. It all happens again at Arlington at 7 o'clock tonight, so they'll be heading down the road to see if the Pirates can pick up some league points. They'll certainly have their work cut out if what we've seen today is anything to go by, but with Tony Rickardsson in sparkling form, I'm sure we're in for another good Pirates Elite League match. But with that, Wimborne Road on Bank Holiday Friday, it's 2 more league points to the Pirates and a superb speedway meeting.
Well, the power of the Pirates has certainly eclipsed the Eagles, and even though there was an 8-point deficit at the end, it doesn't belie the fact that the Pirates really did get their own way here this morning. Well, Neil, it's going to be a busy day, of course, because now the whole roadshow moves over to Arlington. Could be a very different story there.
That's right, yeah, I mean, we're straight on the road now, literally, you know, get out of here, get the bikes loaded up, and then we're off. But, yeah, it was a good result. I mean, to say that the new tactical rule does come back and haunt you, doesn't it? So we just got to have our wits about us this evening and hopefully, you know, pay the favour back.
It looked pretty serious there for Tony in that last one. Do we know what it is yet?
Well, he thinks he's seized it up, but he's not 100% sure. So he's got another engine, but it just depends if that's his sort of Eastbourne bike or what. So we'll have to have a quick look at it in a minute, and maybe Jack will whip the top off and have a look and see, but hopefully it's not.
Well, these are always the problems, of course, that it can happen when you get 2 meetings back-to-back like this.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's the trouble. It's just a time factor now, isn't it? I mean, we've got to really head straight up to Arlington now, and then we can have a look at it. But, yeah, hopefully it's not too serious. OK,
now we've got our first 3 matches under our belt, as it were. This rounds up our first video of the year. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm very pleased. I mean, I think there's better things to come from some of the boys, and I say it's a long season, and I think the league is wide open.
For my money, everybody's really been on the money, and I've got to say, some people have said that Jason's looked as though he's struggling, hasn't quite settled in yet, but he hasn't had an easy time, has he?
No, that's right. I mean, riding at #1's always hard, and sort of come to a new track, and people expecting great things. But you know, today proved that he's still got it. And as I say, we haven't seen the best of him yet. And say, I just ask people to stick behind him really, because he does want to do well. He's very happy to ride at Poole, and you know, he's in the team. He's got good team spirit with everybody. So yeah, Jason will be fine.
From what I've seen anyway, the Pirates look as though they're certainly onto a winner. Let's hope that we can keep that going.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, no, it looks good. I mean, to say it's got a good team spirit. You know, good strength and depth. You know, everybody does it. You know, one night, and then it maybe has a bad night, but they all come good when it counts. And so just hopefully we can keep it going.
So Neil and the rest of the Pirates are making their way down to Arlington, and as the people leave the stadium, I've got to say, Graham, we've done our first 3 matches now, and I've got to say the Pirates look pretty good.
They've made a very good start to the season. They didn't do too badly at the start of last season, Nigel, but I think they've just got the edge this year, having those couple of challenge matches, and there were no slip-ups when it came to the action in the Knockout Cup against Peterborough, unlike last year when Coventry came down here and plundered the points. Yes, that's right.
Well, Pirates obviously started the season at the very top of the league. Hopefully with a match at Arlington, if they can repeat their success here this morning, maybe if they can do that again this evening, they'll go straight to the top again.
Well, it would be nice to see them up there, but of course it's a long season with A and B fixtures, and it's a long ball game, but I'm sure Neil and the lads will be wanting to make a good start, which is exactly what they've done. And of course the bonus point and the away points at Arlington would be a real plus if we can get those points in the bag.
Well, in the meantime, that just about rounds up our coverage on this edition of Pirate Videos. But of course, we will be back and we'll be reporting on that match at Eastbourne later on today. And we'll also be bringing you coverage of our match against Wolverhampton on Wednesday, weather permitting, of course. So don't forget to join us again when we'll bring you all the action all the time, yet again, on Pirate Videos. From me, from Graham, and from Rob, all the best. See you soon.
We're planning for success again in 2004. Make sure you're with us with Pirate Videos. All the action, all of the time.